China-US tariff story. We're crossing now to our correspondent, Laura Westbrook in Hong Kong. And please be aware that there is quite a delay for that link. So as we are asking her, there might be some silences in between. But let's try the first one. Good afternoon. What warning did Trump issue on Truth Social regarding countries retaliating with tariffs? And how does he plan to counter such actions?
Yes, here in Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index rose about 1.5% today, and that's after Hong Kong led losses in the region on Monday, with the Hang Seng plummeting more than 13%, its steepest decline since the 1997 Asian financial crisis. Now, elsewhere, China's CSI 300 index climbed 1.7%, as well as the Shanghai Composite Index gained 1.6% after close. So both slid more than 7% on Monday. Now, several Chinese state funds have stepped up the support for the markets, which is part of Beijing's efforts to mitigate the fallout of this trade war. Now, elsewhere in the region, we have seen some markets doing better than yesterday, such as the Japan Nikkei 225. It climbed 6%, and there are hopes there of a possible deal after a phone call between President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Shiba. But elsewhere in the region, Thailand, Taiwan, and Indonesia all fell. So there is still a lot of uncertainty here. And this is, of course, after this sort of extraordinary few days where we saw the real turmoil in the markets. And that is amid those worries about this trade war igniting a global economic slowdown. And some analysts say there is still a lot of uncertainty, and it's too early to tell whether we've turned a corner, at least here in Asia.
Laura, what are the potential economic consequences for China's manufacturers and the broader global economy if the US imposes a 104% tariff on Chinese imports?
Yeah, that's right. We're hearing some tough talk out of Beijing in response to those comments by Donald Trump overnight, threatening a new 50% tariff on China if it doesn't remove its 34% tariff. Now, that would take the total number of tariffs on Chinese goods to more than 100%. So that really is quite a steep escalation. Now, we have heard this statement from the Chinese Commerce Ministry saying that the US threat to escalate tariffs on China is a mistake on top of a mistake. It also said that if the US insists on its own way, China will fight to the end. But the statement also did say that China is willing for dialogue to try and resolve these differences, but China really much standing firm and not backing down. Now, I've also been speaking to some people here in Hong Kong to gauge their views on this. Hong Kong is also impacted by those tariffs on China, and the leader of Hong Kong, John Lee, has also hit back at the United States for undermining global trade and bringing risks and uncertainties through the world for what he calls its reckless imposition of tariffs. But some Hong Kongers are worried about the economic impacts of this. One woman also said that she was also concerned about the impacts of these tariffs on other countries in the region, some of the poorer countries in the region. Another man told me that his Chinese side was proud that China was standing firm and standing up to Donald Trump in the United States. But he also said, with these tariffs, where will this go? And he said that he wanted to see potential for the two sides to talk, to negotiate a deal. But China, at the moment, very much not backing down.
Thanks very much. That was SABC International News correspondent Laura Westbrook chatting to us there from Hong Kong on that China-US trade war.